Okay, so we are actually going to start today. I know we have been starting by laying down, but we're going to start by standing today. So if you want to stand in the center of your mats with your legs kind of wide apart. Let me close this other door real quick. You want your toes to be facing out at about a 45-degree angle. And we'll get it. There we go. Okay, and then we are going to do something called the sunflower to start, just to warm up our bodies a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to reach our arms up overhead like this, and then as we bring our arms down, we're going to bend our knees, and almost like we're drawing a huge sunflower that's like all the way around us. So I would encourage you to exhale as you come down, inhale as you come up. Just go at your own pace. Maybe do one more of these. And then go ahead and keep your legs straight, let your arms float down. We're gonna start to bend our left knee, keeping that right leg out to the side. You're getting a nice stretch on your hamstring on this straight leg, but also a little bit of a stretch on the inside of your thigh. And then go ahead and straighten that left leg. Bring your hands to the mat if you can, and just allow your upper body to hang down. Taking some nice deep breaths here. And go ahead and bend that right knee slightly, getting a nice hamstring stretch and inner thigh stretch on the left leg. Coming back to center, go ahead and straighten that right leg. Drop the upper body down, just allow your body to hang down. You're gonna walk your hands over to that right. Nope, I'm on my left. Sorry, to your left foot. Leaving your legs straight, you're gonna feel that stretch increase a little bit on the left-hand side. And notice also how that stretch changes a little bit. So when we were doing our other stretch, you might have felt that further up in your hamstring and further on the inside of your leg. And this stretch, you might feel a little bit further down across your calf muscle, the outer side of your ankle. When you're ready, you're gonna walk your hands back to center. One more time, hanging down in the middle. For wide open A. Just allowing gravity to help stretch out your neck and your shoulders and your upper back. Then very slowly starting to walk those hands over to the right foot. Continuing to breathe deeply. For today's meditation, we are talking about what we orient our lives to. Take one more deep breath here. Again, noticing how this stretch feels in your body. And then walking those hands back to center. You're going to go ahead and heel toe those feet back together till they are underneath your hips. And you're going to bend those knees deeply, taking one elbow in each hand. Go ahead and allow that upper body to hang down for ragdoll pose. And then here, if you just want to go ahead and sway side to side, you're welcome to do that. If you want to stay in the center and just have a little bit of stillness, you're welcome to do that too. Do what feels good in your body. challenging yourself, but not going so far that it hurts. Coming back to center if you're not already there. Bend those knees just a little bit further. Place your hands on your knees and very slowly round up, one vertebrae at a time. We're going to come to the edge of our mat, to the short edge. Standing nice and tall, we're going to inhale, both arms up. Reaching up toward the ceiling, we're going to take our right hand, and either you can grab your left wrist or your left forearm. You're going to try to pull up first, and then over to the side. Continuing to breathe as we do so. And releasing that all the way back down. Inhaling, arms up. Reaching really nice and tall, then take the left hand, grab onto that right arm or wrist somewhere, pull up and over to the side. Really getting a nice side stretch here. Checking in with your body that you're not leaning forward in this position, but you're still upright, you're just leaning off to the side. And then releasing that all down. We're going to go ahead and fold forward here at the top of our mat. Again, stretching out those hamstrings, but again, this time, stretching them out in a little different way than what we were at the beginning. And then if you can, plant your hands on the mat. If you need to bend your knees here to do that, you're welcome to do that. And we're going to step, hop, or float those feet back. And we're going to push ourselves into a downward facing dog. So your hands and fingertips are really rooted into the mat. Your biceps are by your ears. Your back is in a neutral spine position, so you're not arching one way or the other. Again, if you need to bend your knees, that's totally fine. Your hips are trying to go up toward the ceiling a little bit. You're energetically drawing your heels toward the mat. Taking a nice deep breath here. Go ahead and look at your hands. We're going to then shift so that way our knees come all the way down to the mat. Then our toes come together. Our knees as wide as the mat. Sit our hips back over top of our heels and then stretch forward into child's pose. So I don't know if you all have ever observed a sunflower, but this is one of the reasons why we started off with that pose this morning. A sunflower, the flower itself will actually follow the sun all the way throughout the day. So wherever the sun is, the flower continues to face toward the sun. And we all have these things in our lives that orient us. And so the encouragement today as we move our bodies is to reflect on what are we orienting ourselves to? So what are we following throughout the day? What are we turning towards? What continues to capture our attention and our minds and our hearts? And let's just pay attention to that today. When you're ready, you're going to take that right arm, slide it underneath the left arm, and then go ahead and turn your head and come down once more. So thread the needle pose. Continuing to breathe. And then taking that right arm, sliding it forward. We're going to take the left arm, sliding it underneath, and then turning your head, coming down to the mat. Feeling that nice stretch across your shoulder. Taking another deep breath. When you're ready, you're going to take that left hand, slide it out in front, pull yourself up onto all fours, taking those knees underneath your hips here. From here, we're going to do some cat-cows, and so when you're ready, you're going to simply inhale, allow your belly to drop down, allow your head to come up. And then as you exhale, you're going to tuck that tailbone, allow the arch to come up through your spine and tuck your chin, stretching through those shoulder blades. Once all the air is out of your lungs, then go ahead and inhale and start to move into cow again. Just going at your own pace, following your own breath. As you exhale, arch up into cat pose. As you inhale, open up the chest, bring the head up for cow. Just warming up that spine a little bit. And then when you've done however many you would like to do, we're going to go ahead and come back into a neutral spine position. We're going to do an extended table pose here. So we're going to shift our weight to that left knee and right heel. We're going to take that right leg up behind us and then the left arm out in front of us. Checking in that your abdominal muscles are pulled in. They're engaged. Your arm and your leg are parallel to the floor as much as you can. And then go ahead and allow that all to come down to the mat. We're going to do a couple more cat-cows here, so go ahead and allow that belly to sit down, allow the head to come up. Exhale and stretch into cat pose between those shoulder blades. Inhale into cow when you're ready. And then arch up into cat when you're ready as you exhale. Again, coming back into that neutral spine. We're going to shift our weight to the right knee and the left hand, taking that left leg up behind us first, and then extending that right arm out for extended table. Again, drawing your belly button in toward your spine. And breathing. This is great for your balance. Go ahead and allow that to float back down to the mat. We're going to tuck our toes. We're going to lift our hips and push back into downward facing dog once more. Checking in with your shoulders, that you're engaging the back side of those shoulders to help protect the front side. And then go ahead and walk those hands very slowly back towards your feet. Allow that upper body to hang down again. Coming into forward fold at the back of your mat. When you're ready, you're going to bend your knees, put your hands on your knees, and then slowly round yourself up. Very good. All right, we're going to move into our active portion of our practice today. So we're going to step forward.
That was not active.
That was our warm-up. So we're going to step forward with our left foot. We're going to blade the back foot. So that means that it's going to be perpendicular to that front foot. So that means these toes are pointing toward the short edge of the mat. These toes are pointing toward the long edge of your mat. And then you're gonna bend that front knee so that way your knee is directly over top of your ankle. Then you're gonna think about stacking your shoulders over top of your hips and then raise your arms for warrior two. And then holding this pose, but not holding your breath. Think about softening your tailbone down. You'll notice that when you do that, it's going to engage all the muscles along the front side of your abdominal wall. Holding one more breath. Then go ahead and straighten that leg. We're going to turn the toes so that way they are at a 45-degree angle here. We're going to do our big sunflower pose. So we're sweeping our arms down as we squat and then lifting up overhead. We'll do that a couple of times. So go ahead and exhale down. Inhale up. Last time, exhale down. Inhale up. And then this time, we're going to take the left foot. So those toes are pointing toward the long edge. The right toes are pointing toward the short edge. We're going to bend that right knee so it's over top of the ankle again, and then lift our arms into warrior two on the other side. Opening up the chest, reminding yourself to keep your shoulders stacked over top of your hips. Soften that tailbone down. Drawing that front knee toward the outside of that front foot so you're not twisting it in. One more deep breath here. And then go ahead and straighten that leg. We're going to turn those feet once more to that 45-degree angle and do our sunflowers again. So down, exhale, up, inhale, down and exhale, up and inhale. And then one more time, down, exhale, and then inhale, and then release those arms down. We're gonna heel toe those feet together, coming down into the yogi squat. So we're gonna bend down, and you might need to kind of work yourself into this pose at first. So your feet are gonna come, and your knees are gonna come open, so that way your arms can come on the inside of your legs here. And if you are up further, that's totally fine. You're going to want to bring your hands to your heart center if you can. Always just doing as much as you can, being gracious with yourself, appreciating your body for what it can do, not judging yourself for what it can't do. Taking another deep breath. And placing those hands on the mat, we're going to lift our hips up, turning the toes toward the long edge of the mat here. And here we're going to heel toe those feet out. Again, a little bit wider into that wide open A stance. Toes are still toward the long edge of the mat. And then here, we're going to walk our hands toward that left foot as we bend the left knee deeply, coming onto the ball of the foot. Allow the right toes to come up toward the ceiling. We're coming into flying monkey on the left-hand side. Once you have your legs set, if you can, go ahead and bring your hands to heart center, or you can stretch them out in front of you for a little bit further balance. And from here, we're actually going to, if we can, stand straight up into our wide open A pose and then go down on the right side for our flying monkey on the other side. So that looks something like this. Coming up to center and then down on the other side. Allowing those toes to come up. If you need to, always feel free to keep your hands on the mat, and you can then support yourself by coming up to center, walking those hands to the other side, and coming down. So either way is just fine. So we're on the right side in our flying monkey. And then we're just gonna do that a couple of times. So we're going to lift into that open A, go down on the other side. So again, just doing as much as you can. If you'd like to go at your own pace, you can. Just following your own breath. Maybe doing this 3 or 4 times. You guys can see why we call this the active portion, right? And then once you've done that 3 or 4 times, we're gonna go ahead and come back to center. We're gonna heel toe our feet together. Bring ourselves down into that yogi squat. And then we're going to go ahead and lay down on our backs. So rounding ourselves down. Drawing our knees into our chests. If you'd like to rock back and forth across your low back, you can. And then the encouragement is to check in with your thought life right now. What were you thinking and feeling as we were going from side to side, as we were doing those flying monkey poses? As things were a little bit more active and a little bit harder in your body, what were the thoughts that were flying through your head? What was the self-talk? Or what were the feelings that were emerging? Sometimes we don't have words, sometimes we just have feelings in our bodies. Just checking in with yourself. Noticing. When you're ready, you can bring those knees back to center. You're gonna go ahead and bring your feet down to the mat. We're gonna make sure that our spines are in a neutral position. And then we're gonna take that right foot up toward the ceiling, drawing that leg into the chest a little bit. Continuing to breathe deeply here. Then go ahead and bend that knee, draw that knee into your chest, and then straighten your left leg down to the mat. I'm going to take that knee across the body, extend that right arm out to the side for a gentle spinal twist. It's interesting, when we do something really difficult, a lot of times we will have these certain feelings that come up or certain thought patterns that present themselves during those moments. And if we pause and if we notice what those are, that can tell us sometimes what we are orienting our life toward. So maybe your thought process was, wow, this is really difficult today, but I'm gonna get there, or I'm just gonna do as much as I can. And that shows us a pattern that your thought process is oriented toward a growth mindset or toward grace in your life. If you were checking in with yourself and you found yourself berating yourself or had some really negative self-talk, you might ask yourself where that was stemming from. Maybe it was associated with some feelings. When you're ready, you can go ahead and start to roll back to center, drawing that knee into your chest. You're gonna release that right foot down to the mat. You're gonna bend that left knee and then take the left foot up toward the ceiling as you pull that leg into your chest. And again, the encouragement as we do this reflective work is to just keep noticing those things without judgment. So you're holding non-judgmental space for yourself. You're just being curious about those things, noticing them, and then going, I wonder what that is from or what that's connected to. When you're ready, you can go ahead and bend that left knee into your chest, this time taking that right leg down to the mat. Then go ahead and take that left knee all the way across your body. You're reaching out with that left arm, again for a gentle spinal twist on the other side. As always in these poses, if you need to grab a pillow or if you would like to roll up a blanket or even put a stack of books or something like that underneath your knee to help support it and make this position more accessible to you, you're welcome to do that. So one of the practices that I have come to in my life is that I find life much more tolerable and much more enjoyable when I orient myself toward hope, which is not always easy to choose hope in certain things. So again, just reflecting today, what are you orienting yourself toward? Maybe noticing if that is something that helps you or if it kind of feeds into old systems and old stories. When you're ready, you can go ahead and start to roll slowly back to center. We're going to take that left knee into our chest and then release that foot down to the mat, bringing the right foot down to the mat as well. We draw our arms down alongside our bodies. And here we're going to do some mini cat-cows. So we're going to press our tailbone into the mat as we inhale. That's creating some space between our spine and the mat. And then as we exhale, we're going to press the small of our back into the mat, almost creating like a little scoop with your spine there. And then just going back and forth again at your own pace, following your own breath. This is a much smaller movement. But we just spent some time stretching out our spine in that twist. So we want to take care of that spine. Maybe doing 5 or 6 of these. And coming back to neutral when you're ready. We're going to heel toe our feet out as wide as the mat. And then we're going to take one knee at a time down toward the center. So dropping one knee in toward the center. You might notice that one hip comes up off the mat. That's okay. Just trying to get a nice stretch along the front side of that quad. Drawing your attention to your breath here. Seeing if you can deepen your breath. And taking that right knee up toward the ceiling, dropping the other knee down toward the center. Or if you did the opposite, then go ahead and just switch whichever knee is in the center. I can remember a few years ago, I was just learning about the Enneagram, and for those of you who don't know, that's a tool that people can use for spiritual development and to learn more about themselves as a person. I was reading through all of the different options, and I remember reading what I thought was mine, and I looked at my partner and said, "What if you don't like yours?" Go ahead and take that knee up toward the ceiling, heel toe those feet together. You're bringing the soles of your feet together, allowing those knees to fall down toward the mat. Again, if you need to grab a couple pillows to place underneath your knees for support, or if you need to take your hands to the outside of your thighs for support, feel free to do that. And so there's this part of this reflective work that we get to do is noticing things that we may want to change or that we may not necessarily like about ourselves. So again, if we can hold space for ourselves, do the work to say, okay, what is that connected to? And then we can consciously make a different choice. So as you're doing your reflective work today, if you're finding you are orienting yourself towards something that you're going, oh, I'm not sure that I want to be oriented to that thing or person or practice, then just an encouragement, you can always change it too. So go ahead and help those knees together. We're going to heel toe those feet about hip width apart this time. We're going to take one leg straight down, and then we're going to roll over onto our bellies. You're going to have to reposition yourself here on your mat. We're going to come up onto our elbows, spreading those fingertips wide. We're going to press those elbows in toward the mat, and then we're going to pull those elbows in toward our body, opening up our chest, taking the crown of the head up toward the ceiling. This is Sphinx pose here. When we're ready, we're going to go ahead and start to work those hands underneath your shoulders, pushing up into first modified plank, then shifting our hips back into all fours. Here we're going to step forward with that left foot. You're going to have to do that in stages, and that's okay. We're going to come into a low lunge, stretching out the right hip flexor, so that reaches all the way across that right hip here. And then from here, let me make one side note. If you need to, you can roll up your mat underneath that back knee, because this can be a little bit hard to do on a hard floor. But we're going to see if we can really press that front foot into the mat, balance across that front foot and the back knee, and then raise our upper bodies, lifting our upper hands, lifting our hands up. Really sinking down into that hip flexor. And then taking those hands to the outside edge of your thigh, see if you can turn toward that front knee. And then go ahead and use those hands to frame that front foot. We're going to step that foot back. Coming back into our all fours position here. We're going to walk our hands forward, coming first into modified plank, keeping the elbows close to the body. You're going to lower yourself all the way down, and then work yourself back up onto those elbows, spreading out the fingertips, opening up the chest, keeping those shoulders down away from your ears. ready, we're gonna go ahead and take those hands under our shoulders once more. Inhaling here and then exhaling as we push up into modified plank. Then shifting the hips back once more, coming into all fours. Now we're stepping the right foot forward this time. Again, if you need to do that in several stages, feel free. Or stretching the left hip first. And then when you're ready, you're going to think about pressing that front foot into the mat, balancing on that back knee and that front foot. See if you can lift your upper body and then lift those hands. Taking a nice deep breath here. Then taking those hands to the outside of that thigh, see if you can twist toward that front leg. Taking one more deep breath. And then using those hands to frame that front foot. We're going to go ahead and start to shift back and step that right foot back, coming back into all fours. Here we're going to walk our hands forward once more, coming back into our modified plank, and then keeping the elbows close, lowering all the way down, coming into our last Sphinx pose of the day. Again, not sinking into those shoulders, but keeping them down away from your ears. And taking those hands underneath your shoulders once more. This time, tucking your toes. We're going to inhale deeply and then push up into a full plank if you can. Once you're in your full plank, you go ahead and shift your hips back, walking those feet forward slightly, coming into downward facing dog. If this is not accessible to you, you're always welcome to come up into modified plank and then stretch forward into puppy dog pose. Getting some of the same stretch there. When you're ready, you're going to walk those hands back towards your body. Very slowly rounding yourself up. So for those of us who are in puppy dog pose, we're rounding up onto standing knees. For the rest of us, we are rounding up into standing pose. And we're going to transition into our balancing postures. So if you need to move toward a wall or toward a chair for a little added support, feel free to do that. And today we are doing tree pose. So we want to keep our feet about hip width apart. If you want, you can rock back and forth across your feet. Just kind of feeling where your feet touch the mat, and then once you found a really comfortable position, go ahead and allow those toes to float down toward the mat. We're going to think about maybe bending your knees slightly and acting like you're pushing the floor away from you. That's going to engage all of the muscles in your legs. And you're going to bring your belly button in towards your spine if you can. Thinking about how your hips are over top of your ankles, how your shoulders are over top of your hips, how your ears are over top of your shoulders. And then take a nice deep breath in this mountain pose. Feeling what it feels like to be balanced in your body. When you're ready, you can start to shift your weight to the left foot. You're going to draw that right foot in like a little kickstand. And then you're going to take those hands to heart center for tree pose. And from here, you're welcome to start to explore this pose further. So if you'd like to bring that leg up, you can. If you just want to keep it down here, that's totally fine too. And then once you're there, if you would like to explore taking your arms out as well for a deeper expression of this pose. Continuing to think about all of the balancing that we did in our mountain pose and how all of that is still true in this pose as well. When you're ready, you can go ahead and bring those hands back to heart center. You can go ahead and step back out into mountain pose and then shake all of that out if you need to. And again, starting back in mountain pose. So we have all of our alignments, all of our good posture is in place. And then when we're ready, we can start to shift our weight to that right foot, drawing the left foot in like a little kickstand, taking the hands to heart center. And then again, from here, exploring this pose further. Seeing what is accessible to you in your body today. I have a left hip that's wanting to cramp today, so I'm going to bring my knee forward. Maybe you notice something else in your body today. You need to make an adjustment. Feel free to do that. When you're ready, we're going to go ahead and bring those arms back to heart center and then step back out to mountain pose and then shake all of that out. Whew. Okay. And then we're going to come back down to the mat. So we're going to lay down for our cool down section. And I've got a little something to read for you all. We've been talking about and reflecting on what are we orienting ourselves to. So what is it that is capturing our hearts and minds? What are we giving our attention to in this season of life? And I mentioned one of my own practices of trying to continually orient myself toward hope. And so this is a quote about hope. So as you lay on your mat, go ahead and just take 3 cleansing breaths in through your nose and then a soft sigh out of your mouth. Just do 3 of those at your own pace. And then allow your breath to come back just to a normal rhythm and normal flow for yourself. And listen to these words. They say, people speak of hope as if it is this delicate, ephemeral thing made of whispers and spiders' webs. But it's not. Hope has dirt on her face, blood on her knuckles, the grit of cobblestones in her hair, and just spat out a tooth as she rises for another go. So just a different image of hope for us today, thinking about the ways that life can kind of beat us up sometimes and how we can continue to choose what we do and how we respond. So when you're ready, we're going to go ahead and take our arms straight up overhead, taking our fingertips toward one wall, toes toward the opposite as you inhale deeply. And as you exhale, go ahead and allow those arms to sweep down toward your sides. We're going to do that one more time. Inhale, arms up overhead. And then exhale those arms down. And then up here, we're going to allow the feet to fall open, drawing our attention to our ankles and all the little muscles around those ankles, relaxing everything on the front side, on either side of the ankle, and on the back side as well. Bringing our attention to the muscles in our legs. Seeing if we can breathe deeply and allow that oxygen to go all the way down into our calf muscles, shins, into our thighs and our hamstrings. Relaxing all the little muscles around our knees on the front and on the back side. Drawing our attention towards our hips. Intentionally releasing anything that feels tight or stiff. Softening our bellies. Softening our low back space. Relaxing the low back and mid back. Releasing any tension we feel in our chest and shoulders, in our upper back and in our neck and traps. Also in our jawline, in our cheeks and cheekbones, in our temples, our eyebrows and foreheads. Releasing any tension you feel in the crown of your head. And then we're going to take a few moments of quiet in this pose. As always, remember, you are welcome to do what is best for you. So if you need to take a different pose with your body, feel free to do that. Or if we get halfway through and you need to change positions, feel free to do that. Stay in some deep breaths, resting and reflecting on the good work that your body is able to do today. You can go ahead and start to wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers. Start to roll to one side. And gently push yourself up to a seated position. And if you'd like, you can place your hands on your heart center or in some other pose that is meaningful or feels good to you. And let me close this in prayer. So God, thank you that we have this reflective space, that we can take a moment and pause on all the other things that we're doing and all the ways that we're giving, on all the things that we're working on. And just check in to say, what am I orienting my life toward right now? Lord, would you give us wisdom as we make choices, as we decide what needs to change or what needs to stay the same and be strengthened. God, would you give us that tenacity of spirit? Would you give us that grit that we need to take the next step? And would you guide our feet as we take that next step in faith? Love you, and it's in your name we pray. Thank you all.
Where did you do that? It sounds familiar. I think I read it.
Yeah, I forgot.